Morning, everyone. Can I have please apologies for absence?
No apologies, Chair.
Thank you. Any disclosures of personal or prejudicial interest from either the committee, please? Okay, thank you. You will have had the papers through, and you will have seen there's a running order that we strictly stick to. So we started off by the officer will tell us what exactly you're asking for and explain it to us. If we've got any questions, then we'll ask them and we'll take it from there because it's. You want to do that? Okay. Sorry, I'm told you I am. Sorry, apologies. I'm Councillor Penny Matthews, I'll be chairing. On my left is.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were going to say.
Okay.
Councillor Leslie Walton.
And I'm Councillor Michael Locke.
And on the right is a legal representative.
Yeah, I'm Craig Davis, legal advisor.
And Samantha Woon, Democratic Services Officer. Annie Davis, Licensing Officer.
Okay, so you know who we all are now, but what we'll do is we'll go to the officer first, go through the papers, and then we'll come to you in due course, okay?
Morning, everyone. So we have a premises licence application for Wobley Castle, Llanryddion, Swansea, SA3 1HB. The applicant is Christopher John Mabbott, and the application is to vary a premises licence. An application to vary a premises licence was received by this authority on the 21st of April 2023. The application proposes to expand the licence area to include an additional area and to amend the following activities and hours. Performance of live music and playback of recorded music, Friday to Saturday 2300 hours to midnight, Sunday 10 AM until 2200 hours. Performance of dance, Friday to Saturday, 2300 hours to midnight, Sunday, 12 PM to 2200 hours. Late night refreshment, Friday to Saturday, 2300 hours to midnight, and supply of alcohol, Friday to Saturday, 10 AM to midnight, and Sunday, 12 PM until 2200 hours. A copy of the application and plan is attached to Appendix A, which can be found on pages 7 to 26 of your pack, and Appendix A1, which is on pages 27 to 28. A copy of the existing licensed area and proposed additional plan is attached to Appendix A2, which can be found on page 29. The premises currently operates under a premises licence. The times the licence authority authorises the carrying out of licensable activities. Performance of live music, Friday and Saturday, 12 PM until midnight. Sunday, 12 PM until 2200 hours. Playback of recorded music, Friday, 12 PM until midnight. Saturday, 1100 hours until midnight. And Sunday, 1100 hours until 2200 hours. Performance of dance, Friday and Saturday, 12 PM until midnight, and Sunday, 12 PM until 2200 hours. Late night refreshment, Friday and Saturday, 2300 hours until midnight, and the supply of alcohol, Friday and Saturday, 12 PM until midnight, and Sunday, 12 PM until 2200 hours. A copy of the existing premises licence is attached to Appendix B, which is on pages 30 to 41, and a copy of the existing plan is attached to Appendix B1, which can be found on page 42. Background. The premises is a 14th century fortified manor house on the Gower Peninsula. The premises has a premises licence which allows three-day events per year. A location plan is attached to Appendix C, which can be found on page 43. Promotion of the licence and objectives. The Licensing Act 2003 contains 4 licensing objectives, namely the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm. Each of these objectives is of equal importance, and the application must demonstrate how they are to be promoted. Relevant representations. No representations were received for the responsible authorities. Other persons. A representation has been received by one other person. A copy of the representation is attached to Appendix D, which can be found on pages 44 to 45. Policy considerations. Considering this application, members should have regard to the current statement of licensing policy, the policy, which can be found in the following link in your packs. Guidance issued by the Home Secretary. Members should also have regard to the relevant parts of the current statutory guidance. The guidance issued by the Home Secretary in December 22. In particular, Introduction Chapter 1, Licensing Objectives Chapter 2, Applications for Premises Licenses Chapter 8, Determining Applications Chapter 9, Conditions Attached to the Premises Licenses Chapter 10, and Statement of Licensing Policy Chapter 14. A link to the guidance can be found in your packs. Determination of the application. The decision must be based on the individual merits of the application and the representations received, with a view to promoting the licensing objectives outlined in paragraph 5 of the report. In arriving at the decision, members should also have regard to the relevant provisions of the policy and the guidance as previously provided. Reasons must be provided for any departures from the policy or guidance. In reaching the decision, the committee must, having regard to the representations, take such steps mentioned below, if any, as it considers appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. A. Grant the licence subject to conditions that reflect the operating schedule, modified to such extent as the authority considers appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. Certain regulated entertainment under the Licensing Act 2003, as amended, has been deregulated. Where entertainment is deregulated but licensable activities continue to take place on any premises, any licence conditions imposed on a grant of a licence in respect of any deregulated entertainment would be suspended. B. Reject the whole or part of the application. In view of the representation received, the licensing subcommittee's instructions are requested.
Thank you for that. Do you have any questions, please? No? Do you have any questions, please? No? Okay, thank you. So we come now to the objectives, and there is just the one left. Would you be happy to read that out? Or, yeah.
So the objection was received on the 12th of May. Dear Sir, Madam, I write to object both to 1, the extension of the licensed area to include another field, and 2, to the variation of licensable hours. 1, the additional field to the west of Wobley Castle is in an elevated position when viewed from the village of Landimore, where I am a resident. It is also on the horizon when viewed from Landimore. This means that all the noise and disturbance of the 3-day event held 3 times a year, which could be for consecutive weekends, would be in close proximity to this residential settlement. Indeed, the noise and disturbance will be amplified because of the elevation of this field, with few natural barriers to absorb any noise from the event. The activity at the site and any light pollution will be highly visible in Landimore because part of the field is on the horizon. The positioning of any stage, which itself will be elevated, the speakers and any lighting will have a significant impact on Landimore by virtue of noise and visual disturbance together with light pollution. The field is less than 400 metres from Landimore, so any amplified music will be inescapable for the residents, up to 12 hours on each Friday and Saturday, and between 10 and 11 hours on Sunday with the current licensable hours. The photo in the pack shows the village of Landimore viewed from the western entrance of the field, the subject of the application. The photo is on page 45. As a resident of Landimore, I consider the proposed extension of the area to be wholly unacceptable and an unreasonable disturbance to the peace and quiet enjoyment of the residential area. To the village, it will also mean the residents will suffer sleep disturbance from the activities on these 3-day events held 3 times a year. As the events are most likely to take place during the summer months when everyone will be hoping to enjoy the fine weather in this normal, tranquil part of the North Gower, the residents will need to keep their windows closed because of the noise disturbance. 2, for the reasons stated above, I object to the variation of licensable hours where there is any increase in the hours for licensable activities, including supply of alcohol. We also received an additional piece of information. Dear Sir, Madam, I wish to resubmit my objections in connection with the above application. At the end of paragraph 1, I would like to add, which is a particular problem for younger and older residents trying to sleep. Thank you.
Thank you for that. clearly the objector's not come in today, but could we have a look on the screen at how near the property they're living in? It's just for clarity. I know it's in here. Can we get it in screen? I know it's in the
Well, it'll be a duplication of what we have now, but yes, we're happy to. Don't say that, no, just it's easier for somebody, you know, for it to be.
yeah, it's in. Oh, there we are.
Okay, so
It's behind it.
looking at the appendix A2 plan, I think I've got the scale about the same. We don't know exactly where the representative lives, other than they live in Landamore, which is this area here. And I think from their representation, they set out that from their property to where the field is, it's 400 meters. Yes, well, where you're pointing now with the arrow, where I'm putting the pointer, that's the edge of the field, yes? Okay, what we'll do when we move into your section, I'll keep this plan safe so that we can raise it up, and if you want to add any comments like that, you can. And perhaps also, jumping ahead of myself, we've got this plan with the red and yellow. Within the pack, there is a plan also where it shows, I call it a crescent, perhaps below those woods. You could perhaps show on that plan where that will be. So Chair, maybe therefore.
There are some buffers. I feel. I know they're not Kiwis, but the nearest farm, everyone's can't see them. But they're behind us, so right. Permission can, so the entrance would come here, they go there. But that, realistically, only that might campaign. You don't want any. So I think just maybe another from that point there to that point there, where they and those houses big.
For the recording, because I don't think it can, perhaps if it couldn't see your hand gestures there so your view is that from that far left,
That's big.
but from the southwest corner where you think the lady's taken the 400 yards. So, okay, so. But look, we've slightly taken it out of sync. But the chair will now perhaps ask for you to give your information. And
If you'd like to explain to us what you want, what you're going to do, how many times a year you want to do it, how long each session will be. We're calling it a session, but you know what I mean. And we can make a decision then, okay?
All right, sorry. So currently we have 3 premises licensed, just the other in the Webley Castle grounds. And when is the folk festival? That's always on second week in June or thereabouts. And that's very tame, but that is expanding a little bit more. But that's of an older generation who go there. They don't particularly drink to get drunk. They drink to enjoy a beer. So that's very tame. That potentially that would want to stay at the castle because they like it there, and it's what I could consider one of the very civilized events that we do. And then we've got the beer festival that Christopher has been doing for years via first the Greyhound pub, and then he's moved to Webley. Well, that's a little bit more of a younger thing with locals that come. So a lot of the youngsters end up coming there for maybe one night. They might camp, but it's an opportunity for them who live in around the area that can come to a safe environment to enjoy some music, to enjoy a drink, to camp with their friends, rather than having to spend £50 going in to getting a taxi back from town. It's great to see all the local people and the local families that bring their children and their grandparents and their friends all come together as well. So that's an in between. I would say that's from families with babies up until, grandparents and older generations. It never goes on late. I very much stick to the licensing. I always have. Try to take it very seriously. And we like to provide a safe environment for where people can have some celebrations of music of whatever genre, they're into, or that we can provide. And then a newer one, Jopo, which is that's a little bit more, that's attracting a wider audience from around Wales who are interested in VW vans and cars and things like that. So they're coming in, but again, that's family orientated. And they can sit and camp and have a drink and listen to some music. I mean, they've got tribute bands going. It's so I think the idea is that perhaps definitely two of them we'd like to move over, but they wouldn't be on consecutive weekends. I think the impact, it would be easier for us as a business to keep a marquee up and then the following weekend do another one. But realistically, the impact is not fair then if you've got 2 weekends in a row of music going on till midnight. But yeah, we just try and provide as safer events as possible, really, that, and the view is outstanding. The area is outstanding. We employ as many local people as possible, local traders as possible, so the food vendors. So we are trying to bring money into our area as well as music and events. And I hope that's kind of tried to hit it on. So it's three different audiences. So it's not all the same impact.
How long would you then?
So so for things like the beer festival, we might have band start at 12 o'clock, but more so to get people off out of their tents and back in there. And then till midnight. So it would be 12 hours, but the day ones, the level of the music isn't the same as the one at 11 o'clock. It's a lot calmer, and it might be local bands that come in and have a try and a play. But we can definitely try and have that at a lower level during the day, so it does lessen the impact of that more music. Oh, so Friday, Saturday and Sunday. No, Beer Festival is only Sunday, Friday and Saturday, and I think Jopo is Friday and Saturday as well. So the folk festival I know is 3 days. The folk festival is 3 days, but that's very calm.
People, will it be bottles, cans?
We don't give out plastic, and we don't give out glass, and we don't give out cans. We're at Wales at the moment, we're in between having the plastic tax, aren't we? So we're trying to get reusable plastics for people to get, but we don't give out any glass.
Right,
No.
so you will be serving sort of wines, etc., from bottle.
Yes.
So, when you bottle up at the end of the
Yeah.
day, what time would you be asking to do that?
We can do that. We don't need to do that until a decent time. We can do that in the mornings. We can do that. You know, we don't have necessarily bottle bins like that you have in town that you go and it makes a crashing noise. We bag up and with normal bins our glass, and then we carry it to, you know, we'll carry it back to the brewery where we've got our own bottle bins. So that impact of that noise, because I know what that noise is like. We don't have that. There isn't that would the glass get transferred back to the brewery.
So you'd agree to a condition,
Absolutely.
so sort of up until 9 o'clock at night, you could move your bottle to after 9 o'clock.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's that. I know how noisy that is, and even when I'm having to do it in venues, I'm like, oh my god, it's not pleasant.
Okay. The other thing that number 9, you would be ensuring recommendations of the safety advisory group. How much notice will you be giving them of an event coming up? If it's a seriously big event.
Page 37.
Age 37. I don't know if we've got page 57. I think that might be in Chris's department. I'm not sure I can answer that one for him.
If the members were to modify the application, perhaps to give the safety advisor group some time, around 3 months is normally
Yeah.
the kind of idea. Is that something that would be acceptable?
Yeah, of course. Would we be able to still go ahead with the one in late July?
Because so what you're saying is there's one coming up in July, which you
Yeah.
haven't contacted the safety advisor group on yet.
No, I don't know whether he has or not. I can't answer that one.
How many people do you expect?
About 800.
Certainly, well, yeah. What would be the view is that events over 500 should be contacting the safety advisor group, and or the relevant parties within that. I think it's something for the licensing officers, but yes, it's capacity dependent and things like that.
Yeah.
But it depends. Depends if your application's granted for a start. But there's a view that generally that there would be a modification to add something such as that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, will you be the named DPS?
Chris is named DPS, but I'm there on site all the time.
Can you explain why do you want to change the hours?
We're not changing the hours. We're not going any later. I think possibly by mistake I put an hour earlier start, but that's probably my mistake on that. We're not asking to go any later than the existing premises license. So I think there was
To race.
I just want to clarify something on the application. Obviously, you're currently licensed from midday for your regular entertainment. And I think there's been some cross wires about the deregulation and the hours that applied from the variation from 2,300 hours. But obviously that's from the events of under 500.
Yeah.
So I think we need to note that obviously it's still to start at midday as currently.
What page are you looking at?
Page 3. If you look at page 3 and then page 4, so they currently have live, recorded and dance from midday on a Friday and Saturday, and on a Sunday, midday for live and dance and 11 for recorded music. And obviously with this variation, that it's not going any later, but the deregulation hours have been put in. So I think there's been a little bit of confusion there. I just wanted to clarify it now, because in effect, if this variation was granted, you'd only be able to have activities of people over 500 from 11 p.m. till midnight. So it needs to start. If I'm just,
Yes, good, yeah. So
otherwise we
effectively,
have to put another minor variation in, which would be back here.
yeah, but the application is correct, isn't it? On the application, let me check. Oh, yes. Okay. So in short, yes. In short, the officer's setting out that because of deregulation, up until 11 p.m, you could have certain events, and the license is actually for after 11 p.m, and you're looking for events until midnight. So on paper, it reads an hour, but actually in reality, because the size of the events you've just referred to as well, on the application, it should say lunchtime, 12 p.m. Yes. And just to confirm then, that is what you're asking for, because that's what you've just said. Yes. Okay. So it's a discrepancy here. So it's likely that if this were to be granted, then there would need to be a modification there, members.
With regard to assuming now that everything's okay and it goes through, how do they stand now with this event that the lady wants to put on? Because there's going to be a lot more than 500 people there. And she needs to get in touch with, it's okay. I understand our licensing department are fantastic at working with people, but how about the other team involved? Are they?
What we would ask is that obviously I'll send Kirsty the link for organising an event today and ask her to get that notification in today as a matter of urgency. The event is a long-standing event. We have been aware of it in the past. So just obviously, because it's a condition, if the licence is granted, we'd ask you to do that as a matter of urgency when we inform of today's outcome.
Okay, I'm just conscious that because it's come up now, I don't want this committee to be committing to something that we can't deliver anyway. Because we haven't got the capability to do it, have we? It's go through another chance.
Yeah, I would say that would only be from, obviously this event was prior to any changes. So I think under that would stand, it would only be for events moving forward. I think new events, I think we'd have to give the time.
This committee wouldn't be certifying and rubber stamping that event. The applicants would still need to go through the normal procedures. It's just that the committee, if we're to grant, effectively, you could say 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 or 12 for the safety advisor group. And perhaps in fairness, the applicant, they're only been having that imposed on them today in any event. So with them being in knowledge of it now, then as the officers set out, they can pass it through and start the procedure.
If you'd like to just sum up then, please, on exactly what you want. And then what we'll do, we'll go into recess with our legal team and we'll discuss it, and you'll have the decision today, possibly.
Still within the time period set out in here, but
Okay.
we'll be as quick as we
We
can.
can't do. And the reason I say that is because of this event that's coming up so near, you know. Okay,
We just want to be able to put on events that are booked through us, that we want to deliver to our local area and our local families and wider circles. In a safe, positive environment. We don't want to upset neighbours. We want to work with communities to lessen any impact, and we'll work hard and we'll listen to people And we'll try our very best to make sure that we don't upset neighbours and we work with them. And I hope you grant it for us. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in this morning. And, somebody will be in touch at some time. Thank you all.
No, no, no.